Elsewhere in lawless Britain, the latest knife crime statistics for England and Wales were released today as well. And while the number of knife and offensive weapon cases dealt with actually fell by 2% in July to September last year compared to the year before, there was still an unbelievable 18,997 cases in that period of time. Clearly, there is still far more that needs to be done. Coming up now, let's talk to our next guest, who is, of course, Yvonne Lawson, who is the mother of Godwin Lawson, who was stabbed when he was only 17 years of age. I really appreciate you coming on to the show, Yvonne. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. I mean, you're working very hard to try and change the way things are, but I was saying to Leroy just before, only this week, another teenager, 16-year-old this time in Bristol, stabbed to death. Tell us what happened to your son.
So as a mum living in London, I would often hear about knife crime, and it always sounded a distance. Never did I imagine that would ever come near my doorstep. Godwin, at a very tender age of 17, he was offered a scholarship and was playing football at Oxford United Academy. He came to London to visit friends and family, and then a fight broke out between his friends. And as Godwin stepped in to stop the fight, he unfortunately suffered one stab wound to his chest. And yet, unfortunately, he died from those injuries. Goodness. And it's very disheartening at every level for a mother to lose their child through knife crime.
Oh, absolutely. It must have been absolutely awful for you. So, I mean, what do you see now when you're campaigning to try and make, you know, knife crime more, if not recognisable, or to see the signs of what's likely to happen to something before it gets to that stage?
I mean, we're tirelessly campaigning and working at the ground level for Godwin Lawson Foundation. We do lots of preventative work at schools, and we work very closely with teachers who often target those young people that are likely to be perpetrators and victims of knife crime. And we work with them through very targeted interventions such as one-to-one mentoring and lots of workshops around conflict resolution and confidence building. Those figures that just came, I think the Home Office figures, although that they're saying that, you know, the weapons have gone down, in correlation to the homicide level, you know, last year, for example, we lost a staggering 103 young lives were murdered on the streets of London, and it doesn't correlate. Someone's not doing their jobs properly. It's either the magistrates are not sentencing those young people, or the police are not really catching those young people that are carrying those offensive weapons.
No, right. Leroy Logan's with us. Leroy, this is similar to some of the things you've said to me before about, you know, the way through this is not to just arrest people and lock them up, is to do some more work in the community to try and convince these young men that this is not the way to operate. But, I mean, if the figures aren't going down anytime soon, it's clearly not working, is it? Or is there not enough of it being done?
No, I think when you've got Yvonne, and I just want to recognise all the excellent work she's done, especially in the tragedy of losing her son. And I know that the charity sector, the voluntary sector, are key to a lot of this. Even myself, when I was in Hackney as a superintendent, I relied on the charity sector to be that interface. But you also need to have the culturally competent officers who are intelligence-led, highlighting the people that you really need to keep on the run, keep them moving, and narrow all the impact they can have. Unfortunately, you don't have that proactive element in policing at a local level. Yeah. I mean, it's just firefighting policing. So they're not getting the information. And unfortunately, through austerity, you've lost a lot of your community cops that would be in the community working, building bridges, not barriers. And so we've now got a situation where less cops, they're not reassuring people. They're not in those early intervention and prevention programs. A lot of the foundations like the Godwin Lawson Foundation is doing some great work, but they can't do it on their own. They need to have a coordinated public health approach with police, local authorities in a way that it's not just dealing with crime, it's dealing with the causes of crime. Because you're not going to arrest it away at this problem or stop and search away at the problem. Because if that was the case, we would have done it a long time ago. And we just need to have, going back to some real basic coppering, we need to get our basics right to build people's confidence. Because the more they trust you, the more they tell you what's going on. If they feel that you're not dealing with their matters, they're not going to tell you where the drugs are kept, where the knives or the other weapons are kept. And as a result of that, they're not willing to go to court, they see a crime, or even assist other people, because they're going to think, listen, no one's going to help me or my loved ones if I chip in, and, you know, their groups or gangs or whatever are going to have a go at me and my loved ones.
No, it's a terrible, terrible problem. Leroy, we've got to end it there, I'm afraid. Leroy Logan, thank you very much indeed. And also, Yvonne Lawson, we'd love to get you back on another time because we need more time to talk about all of this. And it is the Godwin Lawson Foundation, if people want to look for that and see what they can do to help. Thank you both very much indeed.